Good morning, students. Today we will discuss the topic that is nanotechnology. Nanotechnology is a buzzword nowadays because today's technology advancement, one important or responsible parameter is to develop the nanotechnology, which I will cover in this session. First, I just want to say that the Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, that means in our historical book we already read, and the last age was the Information Age. Till now, the Information Age is continuing, and that's why we know that we are getting the 5G for our development. Now, what will be the next? That is the enter to the nano world. Now, the question is, what is nano? So I want to, before I start on nano, I just want to say one question which is very important. That is to write 24 volumes of Encyclopedia Britannica on a head of a pin. You people are not very surprised about this statement because you people are using the pen drive or USB drive, that is the acquire very small dimension, whereas you can store lots of data like 30 say 64 GB and more. So in this aspect I want to just uh, highlight one person. His name is Richard Feynman. He was saying in 1959, which is the Bible statement in front of the all nano scientists, that is, there is a plenty of room at the bottom. So what is the meaning of this? That means this is the reference level. Below this reference level there is a lots of space where we can work or we can manipulate. That's why I just put in my title plenty of space at the bottom. He was uttered this sentence that there is a plenty of room at the bottom. To realize, to understand, we took almost 25 years. And in 1985, Roher and Winnick came with a solution where the scientists are able to manipulate control of individual atoms and molecules. So now the question is, what is nano? So I am coming there from the definition. What is nano? Nanometer is a 1 billionth of a meter or a millionth of a millimeter. So you can see that this is the below 100 nanometer, like virus is small molecule. Also the hydrogen atom, one hydrogen atom acquire is 1 angstrom. So that means it is 10 hydrogen atoms. If we arrange side by side, then it will coming to 1 nanometer. So that is the dimension wise. Now the question is, what is the definition of nanotechnology? Nanotechnology is basically the technology which deals in the nanometer range, that is below 100 nanometers. Okay, so for the novice who are now start up the scientific thinking or the technology development, they can understand that what is nanotechnology. Now I'm just giving one very good examples that nanotechnology is not a new technology. We have seen this species in our house. It's very common. It's gecko, or we are saying this lizard. When the lizard are walking on the wall, they are very very comfortable to walk on the wall rather to walk on the floor. The reason behind this, on the floor they are not comfortable. Previously what we thought that they have some here some thumb pad. That's why they can just push the air and they can stick on the wall. But after that, it was revealed that they have a lots of dendricle like this type of structure. So these dendricles they put as a hook on the ports of the wall, and that's why on the wall there is a lots of ports compared to the floor, and they are very comfortable. That's why they are very comfortable when they are walking on the wall compared to the floor. So it is just like another nanotechnology, because this dendricle, the dimension is nearly or about 100 nanometers. So it is just similar to the carbon nanotubes. You can see that is the similar structure or shape. We can show that it is an ACM picture, and there we can see the comparison. So it is not a new technology. Also, we know that during our childhood, the Spider-Man is a very common amusement topic for us. And there we are also seeing that Spider-Man, when they walk on the wall, they are using the hook-like structure. Now the dimensions in biology and electronics, if you see, they are in the region, and in the, because I just mentioned these two domains. In these two domains, a drastic development happened nowadays due to the nanotechnology. Now I am coming to the four possible reason why the materials in the nanoscale are differ from the properties. The nanoscale are differ from the macro scale. The first one is the gravitational force. The gravitational force are negligible in case of nanomaterials. I just want to rephrase that what are the four fundamental forces existing in the universe: gravitational force, electromagnetic force, weak nuclear force, and strong nuclear force. Now the gravitational force, we know that it is the product of masses with divided by the distance square with a proportionality constant. For electromagnetic force, there is the the product of two charges, the magnitude of charges of the two particles divided by the distance square with a proportionality constant. So you can understand, you can see that in nanoscale, as the mass is very less, that's why we cannot, the dominant factor here only the electromagnetic force. So the force which is applicable is more in the electromagnetic force dominated. And how much it is? We calculated it 10 to the power 36 times more compared to the gravitational force. Now next is the quantum mechanical descriptions of a particle motion. What is quantum mechanics? It is not the topic, so I just want to say here the quantum mechanics means the discretization of the charged particles. So individual atoms or molecules or clusters performance are considered, which is basically ignored in case of classical mechanics. Suppose another thing is that energy is not too much required to consider in the quantum mechanical system. Just to support this statement, I am given one example that if you stand in front of a mountain and you want to cross this mountain, what you can do, according to the classical mechanics, we have to climb to the peak, and then we have to go another side, or we can go through the horizontal way, but this is also tedious, you need more energy. But in quantum mechanics, it is very easier that we can dig a tunnel, and because it is a wave nature, so we can dig a tunnel and we can go from one side to the another side. So the tunneling phenomena can be expressed through quantum mechanics, not from the classical mechanical descriptions. So obviously the science is also in different thinking. Next is the very large surface area to volume ratio that I will discuss in my later slide. And last is the influence of random molecular motion of the particles play much greater role than they do in the macro scale. So these are the four possible points where we can say that it is different, or we can say it is showing the different properties. Okay. Next, why nanostructure material scientifically interesting? These are the four distinct points, the properties wise, that is the nanostructure scientifically interesting. One is the electronic or optical properties. There is the confining of the electrical conductors, where the electrons generally in the conductor, when we are applying the voltage in between two, then the electrons in the bulk manner they are moving from one side to the another. But what is happening there? They have lots of uh, the scattering effect. That means they are collide to each other, and that's why it will generate lots of thermal energy. So it is basically dissipation of energy occurred. Where the uniform, in case of nanotechnology, then in the nanoscience, it considered that it is a ballistic transport. Ballistic means that the electrons are moving uniformly. They are not moving at a time. So not a bulk consideration is there. Next is the quantum confinement. It is a very interesting topic because the tunable optical properties we can create. As I'm giving one example, the bulk gold color is yellow, whereas when we are talking about the um, gold nanoparticles, then based on size, the color may be purple, red, blue, any kinds of colors we can achieve. So this is called the quantum confinement and size dependent optical properties. Next is the mechanical properties, that is small enough to be defect free, thus exhibiting ideal strength. Next is the thermal properties, can be designed to conduct heat substantially better than nearly every bulk material. Last is the chemical properties, that is the reactivity will be more if the surface to volume ratio will be more. So these are the four distinct properties where the nanomaterials or nanostructures are basically showing in the different way. Now I'm just giving the day-to-day life, the examples of nanotechnology, that this is basically the speeds, these and these, the difference between these two are the volume, right? And another difference is they have lots of parts compared to the other one. They are staying in the colder region, they are comfortable to stay in the tropical region. So they have the less power, so that means they can radiate the heat from their body, and that's why the volume is more compared to this one. So it is the high surface to volume ratio, the examples. Another is I am given another example, that is the elephant. Elephant has the high volume, so it will radiate more energy, and if it will radiate more, if it will not get or it not radiate more energy, then what will happen? They cannot survive. So that's why they have the less parts compared to the sparrow. So these are the examples of the nanotechnology in our day-to-day life. Next, what is the nanotechnology applications? I am given here the innovative applications. Some of the innovative application, maybe I am not covered all, but which is very distinct nowadays, that is the ZNO/ZNS at nanoscale degrade organic pollutants. So we are getting a lots of pharmaceutical wastes, and we are just dispersing in the river water, which is not desired, which is basically hampered the aqua life. So if we photocatalytically degrade these organic pollutants before releasing in the river, that will basically resist the pollution, water pollution. Also, Ag nanoparticles, the silver nanoparticles, that is we are using for biological pollutants or bacteria, and we are using in our commercial water filter system. Next is the mechanical strength, that is the carbon atoms, and as nanotube exhibit tensile strength 100 times better than that of steel. Similarly, the quantum computing, for faster operation we are using qubits instead of bits. So that means we are getting another provision, that is instead of 0 and 1 we are getting an intermediate state which will help us to communicate due to enormous bandwidth and capacity. Next is the nano composites, that is we are using for TiO2 to protect our eyes from UV rays, and that's why we are using some just protect our upper portion of the nose here with TiO2, that is called the sunscreen. So but it is now in the nano level, it is basically appear transparent, so it is not visualized. Next is the textile industry. The Eurocup, first Eurocup when started, the this uh, water stain repellent jersey, the wear by the football player, such that they are controlling the bad odor, and the till the weight the water is also not absorbed by their garments. So this is water and stain repellent. Next is the biomedical. In the biomedical sector, there is a lots of revolution due to the development of nanotechnology, the targeted drug delivery, quantum dots as the biological markers. We will discuss one by one. Last is the energy sector. This energy sector also, the less energy consumptions we are using light emitting diode instead of the incandescent bulb or the fluorescence tube. That is basically we can reduce the energy consumption, increasing the efficiency of energy productions using the nanocrystalline solar cell to renewables, one of the renewable source of energy, but it is in infancy. Maybe we can get the good solution in future. We are working on that. Next, there is in the electronic sector, I'm just giving one very crude examples. Previously, you have seen that in your household system, we are using the television set based on the field emission display. Now, we are not using this field emission display so far. We are using the aligned nanotubes based the FPD, flat panel display. So the flat panel display, it is reduce the dimension, also the huge power consumption reduction. So that is the basically the one of the examples in electronics industry. Next, the biomarker, we are using the biotechnology applications for the quantum dots. For here you can see the fluorescent marker that will the size dependent optical properties based on this quantum confinement we can see. Also there is a targeted drug delivery we already discussed. Another is a smart filling for the resist in the cavity. We use the calcium phosphate nanocomposite for filling up the tooth. So these are the biological applications using the nanomaterials. So what we can say that the nanoscience is unique, so it is unifying, but the application wise lots of vast of applications, so it is a diverse. So nano is diverse but unifying. So the misconceptions, some people are using the nano in everywhere, like you can see that the nano psychology, nano mathematics, nano car, but this is not the nano related with nanotechnology. Last, I want to say that today's science fiction is often tomorrow's science fact. So if we start to think some different concept, maybe tomorrow it will come on truth because of the it is a science fact. So it is a Stephen Hawking statement. Now I just want to stop here. This is part 1, and in the part 2 I will discuss the nanomaterials, the different nanomaterials, and the approaches, the classifications, and the the challenges in the nanomaterials. So up to this, thank you students for patient hearing. Thank you.